Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday show. In case you missed it, where we kind of recap what we talked about on Tuesday. Been a lot happened since Tuesday. I'm not even sure if I remember the Tuesday show that well, but we kind of recap what's gone on this week, and so we'll do that tonight. But let me get the ticker up first. I know everybody wants to know about the truck. The phone rang all day, people asking about it. And at the time people was calling, I still don't know anything, but I do have an update on the truck. My throat's a little sore. I've been on the phone all day. So we'll try to get through this show with my voice intact, and I'll tell you about the truck. Also, one of the viewers in here did something super nice for me. Probably one of the nicest things a viewer's ever done for me since we started this show. Sent me a gift. I'm really grateful for it. I can't wait to share it with you and tell you all about it. But some of you have been in the comments for a while, and I want to go back and say hi to everybody that did that, and then we'll jump right in. We got a lot of stuff to get to tonight, and I appreciate you being here. I realize there's other YouTubers that are going live right now, and you've probably got a million things to do on Thursday night. But I appreciate you being here with me. Looks like first one in today was unfiltered through our lens. Trying to be first won't catch the live, but I'll watch the replay. That's a great point. If any of you can't watch the whole show, sometimes we go 2-3 hours. We've had some that's gone over 4 hours. What I suggest doing is watch as much of the live as you can and leave comments and stuff. That helps the algorithms, helps me out. But if you have to catch all or part of the show on the replay, that also helps the channel. And you can still leave a comment on the replay. Sorry, I do my best to respond to every one of those just as quick as I can. And either way, whether you're doing it during the live or the replay, if you can give me a thumbs up, that really helps. If you're subscribed, that really helps. And if you hit share and share this video out on your social media platforms, that also helps. I got an email report today. The website is improving month over month as far as views and people visiting it. If you hadn't checked out the website, please go do that. There's a lot of great information there. And also down in the ticker below, I mentioned putting it up a second ago, my email's there. If you'd like to work for the same company I do and you've got a truck, it's safety@srologistics.com. That information's down there. And so there's just a lot of great information out there. We're on your TikTok. We're on your Instagram, your Facebook, LinkedIn. We're in a lot of places. So just go there and type in Trucker Todd and join us in all those places. I put different content in different places from time to time, and that way you get it all. Good friend Gary Cook is here. I'll try to be there. Thank you, sir. And another good one. Tim back here might be driving for part of the show, but I'm listening and will comment when I can. Have a good show. Thank you, Tim. John Toohey says, I'm here. He sent me, about 15 or 20 minutes before the show, sent me some good Paul Harvey clips, and it was nice to go back and hear Paul Harvey again, who is arguably one of the greatest radio broadcasters of all time. I know my uncle listened to him every day. It seemed like he'd come on around noon or 12:30, and my uncle always looked forward to what Paul Harvey had to say. Good friend Ramon is here. Thank you for being here, sir. And another good friend. I'm going to have to quit saying that. Pretty much everybody watching this show has become a good friend. And when I talk about what got mailed to me a minute ago, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, Ted says, hello, Mr. Todd. I'll be driving or listening while driving. Hope all is well. Yes, sir. Gary Cookson, Tyler, Texas. I hate delivering to Walmart or Target. They can never get the appointments right. I don't have a lot of experience with live unloading at Target. We always had a 12-hour window at DART, and it was usually easy to make that 12-hour window. Now, if you got a live unload there, yeah, it's a different deal. And if you've got a company that's not right on top of that stuff, mistakes can be made. I had that happen though recently on a Walmart load. I showed my appointment was 6:15 in the morning. I got there at like 5:15, an hour before. They go, "Oh no, your appointment's this afternoon." And fortunately, the broker ended up paying me detention, and it all worked out. There was a vacant parking lot nearby actually right next door that I could park at. And so it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. But I did lose a load that I had already booked because I couldn't make it to the next pickup. But I found a replacement load that ended up being better. So I got lucky, and in short, it all worked out. But yeah, I can understand your frustration. I always call before I go, give them my delivery number, and then confirm my appointment time. Yeah, that's a great idea when you can do that. I know some of these brokers will put in the notes of your rate con, do not call the customer under any circumstances. And I've never understood that, because when you get the two parties that are actually involved, the guy hauling the stuff and the company unloading it, it seems like it's better if they can speak directly to each other. But there are some brokers and some trucking companies that say, no, we don't want you calling Walmart or Target. We want you calling us directly. But I agree with Tim. It is best when you can do that. Crypto Izzy saying hello. Hello, Crypto Izzy. And Red Raider Reloading is here. Hello, Todd. Hey, Red Raider. I'm glad you're back. And I know it's been a tough week for you, but I'm glad you're back, and I hope things are getting better. Yeah, we're going to, he says, hopefully all is well. Yeah, we're going to jump right in. We're going to talk about the truck and all of that. I just want to get caught up on the comments. It looks like right now I'm about 6 minutes behind, so we can shoot over and talk about things here pretty quick. Let's see here. Hey, Todd, checking in from Colorado Springs, says Travis Jones. I was there recently. I seem to find myself going there a lot. Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Denver. Seems to be a lot of loads out of Lubbock running up that way. So hopefully when I get the truck back, that'll be the direction I'm heading. Brian Vanderway says, it's been a while since I was able to listen live and be parked, but have listened to all of them, plus older ones in the last month. I like your content. Keep it up. Forget the haters. Well, thank you, sir. We've definitely had a few this week. I've been criticized for everything you can possibly imagine, and most of it I've just laughed off. But I've also had some really supportive people, and I want to talk about one of them tonight. Midlife Trucker Tom Bell sent me a package. He emailed me recently and said, hey, Todd, can I have your address? I want to mail you something. And I'm trying to set up a Trucker Todd mailbox where y'all can mail stuff to. But at the time, I don't have one. So I gave him my address. He mailed me a package. I asked him to tell me what it was. He said, no, wait and see. It's a surprise. And it turned out he sent me, I'm going to leave that up for a second so y'all can see the website. He sent me one of the nicest gifts I've ever received from you guys, and I am super, super grateful for it. So I've got the package right here, and I want to show y'all what it is. And I've got a lot of research to do because it's way above my knowledge or skill level. But basically, he sent me not one, but 2 GoPros. Let me see if I can. And so I'm going to be researching how to use those. And it was about that picture I did where I'd had to kind of jerry rig a headset to take the dash footage of my speedometer while I'm going down the road. Now I've got an actual GoPro, and when I learn how to use it, it's going to enable me to give you a lot of views, a lot of shots that I previously couldn't give you. Maybe I can show you how to adjust trailer brakes, things, just angles and shots I never could do before. Now I can do. And this isn't cheap. This is hundreds of dollars he sent. at no expense to me. He even covered the shipping costs and everything. And so I'm really, really grateful to Midlife Trucker Tom Bell. And as you guys know, he works for Cheeseman as a company driver. He also has a YouTube channel. He does a lot of really interesting drone footage from above truck stops, and you can see trucks backing in and leaving, and just a lot of interesting footage like that. He also does a weekly income video where he shows what he makes as a company driver. And so I think we all owe Midlife Trucker a thank you, because it's gonna lead to better videos, hopefully, to more videos, and so I'm just really grateful to him, and I hope you'll all check out his channel, if for no other reason than just as a thank you for him doing that. You know, I've said on this channel before that you guys help me just as much as I help you, and this is just one example of it, but it's a big example. I was floored when I opened it. I got the box and I was kind of shaking it and listening like you do with a Christmas present. And I thought, you know, it's probably a T-shirt or something. And I lifted it and it was kind of heavy. I was like, no, it's not a T-shirt. And I kind of gently shook it because I thought, well, if it's like something to hang on the wall, like sometimes people will send me Ford stuff or Kenworth stuff or something like that. I was like, I don't want to break it. And then I opened it up and I saw the GoPro symbols, and I said, there's no way he sent me a GoPro. And I just quickly looked at it. I was on my way to my son's shop, but best I can tell, it looks like 2 GoPros, or at the very minimum, 1 GoPro and a whole lot of attachments, different mounting devices where I could mount it in different places. And I'm just floored by y'all's generosity, by your support for the channel. And so, you know, the trolls, they have their fun, that's fine. But when something like this happens, it just reaffirms how much I appreciate each and every one of you, even the ones of you that can't do anything. Just the fact that you're here supporting me and leaving your positive comments. Before we go any further in the video, and I hope he sees this, I don't think he's here right now, but I immediately emailed him back and told him how grateful I was, how much I appreciated it. It was insulated with a USPS box, you know, to keep it from shaking around. And originally I thought, well, he wants me to use it for a couple of weeks, see how I like it, and then mail it back to him. But I confirmed with him, no, he just don't want me using any self-made devices anymore. And so I can't tell you how grateful I am for it. I can also tell you I don't know how to use it. So you'll have to bear with me. The videos will get better as I learn how to use it and how to hook it to my computer and all that stuff. Let's see. Gary says Target delivery is only done by email. I never understood why. Yeah, I could guess. I imagine some of the people that would call them and wanting to set appointments were unreasonable, were rude on the phone, and they're just like, hey, we don't want to deal with them. We'll put it to email, and if they're a jerk, we'll just take our time answering them. A lot of the brokers, when you look them up on the DAT board or somewhere like that, they only want to talk to you by email in the beginning. In case you hit them with some crazy bid or something, they'll just ignore you. But usually if you hit them with a decent bid, they're calling you. I've got my number in the signature of my email that I use for brokers. So usually I'm getting a phone call or they're emailing me back and saying, hey, call me, let's talk about this. And but yeah, a lot of them have gone to email. I kind of like email and text because it creates a time-stamped paper trail. So if you tell them, hey, this load is loaded wacky, I don't think we should pull it, and they email you back, hey, go ahead, we got you covered on damages, then you've got written proof that you're not on the hook, that you told them it's not loaded properly, things like that. Now, I guess you could refuse it and scramble to find another load, But that was just an example I pulled out of the air. I haven't had that happen yet where I felt something was loaded improperly. But it did come in handy on that load. I showed up on a weekend, and they said, "Oh, we can't give you the pickup number till Monday." I had a chain of emails where I had emailed the broker, and I had a screenshot of my phone, all the places I had called. And so it made it where I did get the TONU because I had documentation. And if I would have just done phone calls, yeah, I'd have still had that call log. But the emails kind of solidified it, I think, in their minds that I had done everything reasonable. And Scott, the guy that I am contracted to, he had also tried to call all those places. So he was firmly in my corner and knew that he and I both had done everything we could do. Man, that's an awesome gift. Yeah, I'm floored. I was not expecting that. And the way he did it, keeping it a secret, kind of added to the suspense. It was like getting a Christmas present. But it tells me what kind of guy Tom is, midlife trucker, and I wish him all the success in the world at Cheeseman. I know he loves it there. He enthusiastically supports that company. He doesn't care if he gets a referral bonus or not. And, you can tell he really loves it there. And so I hope he does well on his YouTube channel. And I've seen a few of his income videos. I know he does well at Cheeseman, and I just wish him continued success. But I was floored by it. I was not expecting it at all. RCE says, "Hey, Todd, up here in Port Huron, Michigan, heading to Fenton, Michigan. Waiting to hear how you're doing on the truck. Never a dull moment. Best of luck. Take care." Yeah, that's funny. We're going to talk about that. Might as well do it now. That's a good segue. I thank you for that, RCE. So I went and checked on the truck today, and they got a little bit more work done on it. They've got the electrical figured out. They were unable to tell me what it was because at the time I was there, they were unable to reach the mechanic. He was at lunch or something, or on a test drive or something. So they said he's working on the bunk heater currently. The oil leak was what I thought it was. They're hoping tomorrow that he can jump back into my truck. And we're on the downhill slope now. So hopefully by tomorrow evening, we'll get it knocked out. If not, I'm afraid it might roll into Monday or something like that. But hopefully tomorrow. Also, you guys might remember me mentioning a while back, I've got some minor body work that needs to be done. I've got some panels that are coming apart at the seams, coming loose. And I went by and talked to them today. Those parts are in as well. I said, well, after this breakdown, I need to run, 2 to 4 weeks before I bring it in. They said, hey, that's no problem. You just tell us when you're ready. And so on the truck side, it's good news. My grandson was released from the hospital yesterday. We went down and saw him for a couple hours today. And I don't know a nice way to say this, but it's not good. They're, originally they thought epilepsy. And the only thing I'm really willing to say publicly right now is there's things that are far worse than epilepsy that an 8-year-old boy can have. And so he definitely needs your prayers more than ever. He'll be having to go back to Dallas in a week or two when they get some more test results in. But I can tell you it's pretty bad. And that's probably all I should say about it right now. The jury's still out on what they're going to do on my aunt's leg, if they're going to amputate more or not. Hope to get some updates on that hopefully tomorrow. But I went down there and worked on cars for a couple hours, talked with my son, got the details as much as he could give me without the grandson hearing stuff because he's terrified. He's really concerned he's going to die. And for a long time, we didn't think that was a possibility. But some of these seizures are severe enough that they're saying it could even cause him to be a vegetable. So, again, I don't want to bring the show down or comment too much yet, but just know that it's far more severe than what we originally thought, and he could definitely use your prayers. If there's a positive to all of this, he's a lot more interested in church and God than he's ever been before. Tonight he's going to a junior varsity football game, and so he's trying to make the best of a really bad situation. Gary Cook says, I've seen a lot of midlife truckers videos. They are good. Yes, they are. And I'll say this too. You know, I've never met midlife in person. And so I'm just having to go by what I've seen. But you always hope when you meet people that you watch on TV or listen to on the radio, you always hope that they'll be what you saw on TV or what you saw on the or heard on the radio. And you hate meeting, you hate getting a backstage pass to a concert, meeting your favorite singer and they're a jerk or they're strung out or something like that. And I got to say that midlife really impressed me with that. That tells me a lot about the caliber of person he is. And then when I go back and I apply that mental mindset of what I think about him to his videos, I go, wow, this is a really good guy that I honestly hope really good things happen to him. I've been looking at a GoPro for filming when I'm at the rifle range to help me critique my habits, good and bad, while shooting bench rest. Yeah, if we could put it together and I could go with you, since we're both in Lubbock, it might be good practice for me and good video for you. It's my deal is always about scheduling. I don't know if your hand is well enough to do it yet, but I'm going to be looking for ways to test the GoPro before I actually release videos that you guys see. And I may have some time on my hands here the next couple of weeks, especially when the truck gets out of the body shop and then goes back into the shop. Gets out of the Peterbilt shop and goes back in the shop in a couple of weeks. And so, yeah, just something to consider. Thanks, Midlife, says Travis Jones. Yeah, he, it was real nice. He sent me a real nice email. He said, I don't want you having to rig something to do those kind of headshots. He said, I wanted you to have this. And man, I was floored. I've had a lot of guys do a lot of nice things for me. But I've never had anything like this. And I've had people do stuff for me, but they wanted something in return. Like, hey, I'll do this, but in place of this, I want you to call this company and try to get me this or try to get me that. I've had a quid pro quo type of thing where people have done nice things, but they expected something in return. And midlife trucker Thomas Bell didn't ask for nothing in return. He was just trying to be a good Samaritan and be a good person. And I don't want to make a big deal about it, but to me it was a really big deal, and I really appreciate it. Just got here. Hope everybody's doing good, says Roger Bell. He sent you a new truck. You just had to put it together. Well, right now, I'm feeling like Cordell sent me a new truck I just have to put together. That truck has been pretty bulletproof. When we look back over the history of that truck in the 4+ months I've had it, I've had to put a starter on it. I've had to get the brakes adjusted, the brake pads, not replaced, just adjusted. I've had to get the air tank repaired. And now we're doing the electrical, an oil pressure sending unit that's leaking oil, and the bunk heater. APU, I don't count that as part of the truck. The APU's had a few issues: a fuel pump, it's not a serpentine belt, but a V belt, and fuel pump, V belt, and what else? There was one more thing they did. Maybe it's just fuel pump and V belt, but now it needs an alternator. And so we were hoping to to get the APU fixed while I was here too. But it just depends on Peterbilt. I'm really being held hostage until I know what it's going to cost. I can't fix the Corvette or do nothing else. Now, Corvette will take less than an hour to put everything back together. I'm going to have some help doing it. I can't fit my hands back there anymore. So I'm going to have somebody else do it. No Fear says, we are on mute. If you are on mute, I'm not aware of it. I think everybody's hearing me because I know Red Raider Reloading's commented to a few of the things I said. No Fear laughing at Gary's comment about the new truck. Okay, No Fear now has sound. Just make sure you don't have helmet cam and go to the bathroom. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be a good way to get my channel taken down. Roger Berry with a shout out to John Toohey says, thanks for getting back to me as fast as you did. I appreciate you and Todd. Well, we appreciate you, Roger Berry. And I'm glad if we played a small part in you getting a raise at your company and getting the run you wanted. I know we weren't directly involved, but or if it was just good timing or what, but ultimately I'm glad you benefited either way. Roger Berry's another one of those guys. And John, like I said, I could do this. When I say, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. When I say midlife trucker, Tom Bell is a good guy, I could lump almost everybody in here in that category. Red Raider Reloading's a great guy. Tim Back, Roger Berry, John Toohey. No Fear's a good guy. I mean, I've been very fortunate, especially the last 2 years, to be surrounded by a lot of really good people. And so I was afraid when I come on here and started talking about midlife that some of you'd feel alienated. Well, Todd, I did this, or Todd, I said that. And I don't mean it that way. And if I forget to call one of you a good friend or something like that, so many of you have been great friends. Good friend is kind of a slap in the face. A lot of you have been great friends. And I just want to reiterate how much I appreciate everybody. And John Toohey says, no problem, Roger Berry, my pleasure. Rose says, hey, Todd. Hey, Rose, thanks for being here. No Fear says, prayers for him. I appreciate that. Red Raider Reloading says, prayers being sent. I thank you. John Toohey also praying. My 2-year-old son has seizures, and we are going through some tests and stuff. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. I think back when I was in school, and I had a classmate that, now keep in mind, this is 80s. I'm not making fun of anybody. But he was a break dancer, and a very good break dancer. This is back when Michael Jackson was doing it. And in our science class, he flopped down on the floor and started having a seizure. And I thought he was just being funny. I thought he was breakdancing in class because he'd breakdance out in the hall during recess, everything. And so I started laughing, and I didn't realize what a seizure was. I'd never seen one before. And the teacher got real concerned, and all of a sudden the paramedics are there. And so that was my first experience to seizures. And quite honestly, I don't know a lot of people that have them. My wife's ex-husband had seizures real bad, and so I was a little bit familiar. I became friends with him, and I was familiar with his health conditions and his situations. But when it's an 8-year-old, that was a lot younger than the classmate I knew. It's a scary deal when you're sitting in the hospital and he goes into one and 10 or 12 nurses and doctors rush in, and, you know, his heart rate goes up to almost 200, and people can die from that. It's really scary. And I can only imagine what you're going through with a 2-year-old. And hopefully it's epilepsy or something that they can correct with medicine and that he'll probably grow out of in a few years. But for my grandson, it doesn't look like there's a happy ending coming. It looks like it's going to be a lot worse than anybody imagined originally, to the point that it looks like even at one point he may have been given medications that amplified his health condition. So, yeah, I'm worried about the truck and all that, but I'm also really concerned about him. And it worked out in my schedule this afternoon. I could go down there for a couple of hours, and they asked me to come back tomorrow because he gets like through the moon excited when he sees me. Calls me Grandpa Todd. So I'm Trucker Todd, Grandpa Todd, lots of names, but he really wants me to go down there tomorrow. My son likes having me around, so I said, well, let's see what tomorrow holds. A lot of it depends on what happens with the truck and things like that. But if I get a chance to go down there, I will. Roger Berry says, I just put him on the church's prayer list. Also, my sister, who lives north of Crossville, Tennessee. I thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. You know, I had somebody on Tuesday that kind of made fun of me when I was talking about my truck being down. They're like, oh, you want me to send you a credit card? And I was like, no, I want you to pray for me. A lot of people discount the power of prayer, and they think, a prayer ain't going to do nothing. But a lot of times, well, almost always, your prayer is more helpful than your credit card would be. Now, don't get me wrong. If somebody calls the Peterbilt dealer tomorrow and says, hey, I want to pay Trucker Todd's repair bill, I'm not going to say, no, deny that payment. And I'm going to try to find out who it is and pay them back. But at the same time, I'm equally happy with a prayer. That guy's, and I could quote scripture for examples, but it talks about where two or more is gathered. And if Roger's church is praying for me, that's more than two. And so I know God hears that prayer, and whatever his will is what's going to happen. And I'm really grateful to y'all. It's one of the secret benefits of this channel that nobody considers. This channel's done a lot of good helping people with trucking companies and things like that. But it's done a lot of good from the people it's reached for prayer and stuff as well. And it's not a religious channel, this news and opinion. So I'm not going to beat my religious beliefs on you. And if you're not, if you're atheist or agnostic or whatever, that's fine. You don't have to pray for me, but just keep me in your thoughts. And I really appreciate it. That guy down there on I-5 in Arizona needs his radio took away. What happened? I guess I missed that. Yeah, I caught it after I read it. My brain's a little slow. Fly Rabbit says the sound is good. He put out some new content this week. Showed his truck with his decals on it. It looks pretty sharp. He's got a real good design for his Fly Rabbit decals. And he had that color of blue when he had a Volvo before, and something about those decals just really looks good on that color of truck. No Fear says he's in Tracy, California, waiting to unload. I don't mind going to Tracy, but I always end up with no place to park and having to park at that Motel 6. Isn't that Tracy? Somewhere over there, that Motel 6. And it's a trashy place. I used to say I would never miss California, but now that I can't go there anymore, I think, man, it'd be kind of fun to go there every once in a while. You didn't mention me. I feel, shall I say, abandoned. So, Abandon, I don't know him personally, but or if I do, I don't know that I know him personally. But I can tell you, he's a very funny guy, and I hope I meet him at some point in my life. I want to buy him a cheeseburger and just let him make me laugh. I think he's a pretty good guy too. When I first saw his name, and I know some of the moderators had the same concern. First time he came in here, I thought, oh, that's a troll account. but he's turned out to be a pretty good guy with good comments and always says something funny every show. So he's one of the gang now. I like Abandon. Roger Berry tapping out. Got to go get some sleep starting early in the morning. Well, thank you for being here, sir. I appreciate you. Try to catch the replay if you can. And thank you for being here, my friend. If someone feels alienated, then they weren't a true friend. Just saying. Yeah, like I said, Abandon and I, to the best of my knowledge, have never talked on the phone. So I don't know if he would classify us as true friends or not. But I would say he's been a good viewer, a good member. He's always got good comments, usually says something funny. So he's definitely not a troll. Hey, here's another good guy. Adam is here. He says, good evening, Todd. Roger Berry says, absolutely, Tim Beck. And I believe he was joking anyway. He doesn't feel alienated. He's got thick skin. It's kind of hard to hurt his feelings too, I think. Roger, be safe and all. Yes, sir. That was no fear saying that, Roger, in case you're just listening now. He says, you as well, no fear. Tell him, Tim back, says John Dewey. The power of prayer is amazing. Good night, all. I'll be listening in the morning. Well, thank you, sir. If you need help with your Corvette, I know a guy just down the road off 82nd and Tahoka Highway. Well, here's the problem. Yes, I need somebody, but I've got that Corvette apart. I dropped the steering column because we replaced the speedometer and I needed more room, and it's in several pieces. So I need somebody that can come to my shop. Now, 82nd and Tahoka Highway is close to where my shop is. My shop's at right off 130th and University. And so he would have to be able to come to my shop and do it. Or I'd have to find a trailer and find a way to tow it to him. But yeah, I'll if you want to text me his contact information or something, I'll reach out to him. But I literally cannot spend $1 until I find out about that Kenworth, because I've got nobody. My family is financially tapped out right now. My son's going through a lot of stuff because of my grandson. My other son just moved and he's tapped out financially. My uncle's going through his stuff with his wife, and my dad's going through some financial struggles. My sister's trying to get ready for her daughter's wedding, and her husband, as a result, hadn't been home in over a month. He's out working extra, trying to make the money up. So I've got nobody. It's just me. And, I had some people say some super negative things about my maintenance account. I guess if they come in here, I'll defend that a little bit. But hopefully I get the answers on the Kenworth tomorrow, and we can put the Corvette back together. I was originally going to do an online auction and bring a trailer. Man, the hoops you've got to go through to sell a car on there is unbelievable. And so I probably won't do it through there. TFL bids, they didn't handle the part I wanted them to handle, which is the collection of the money. They handled the collection for their side of it, but then I got to try to collect money from somebody, worry if the money's counterfeit or if the cashier's check's good. And who knows what happens when you meet up with them. And they start trying to Jew you down. They go, well, then I don't want it. And then you've already paid all that money to TFL bids and you still hadn't sold your car. So that leaves Purple Wave, which I've worked with them before. But I saw a Corvette identical to mine, down to the 4-speed manual transmission, color, everything. Actually, a little better option. It had factory air, which is pretty rare back then. And it sold for about a third of what it was worth. And so I'm almost terrified to put mine on there. My wife's like, we're not letting it go at that price. And it's like, I agree. I don't know what we'll do, but we're not letting it go for a third of its value. we're not that. I mean, maybe we are that desperate, and I just don't know it yet. I'd almost be willing to take out a loan against the car before I let it go that cheap, because I love the car. I need an influx of cash to kind of keep myself afloat till I get some of this debt paid down. He puts brakes on my pickup and charged me $60. I bought the parts. Yeah, he sounds like my kind of guy. If he's willing to come over to my shop on 130th and University, and you say he's a good guy, I know you personally, I trust you. I'll definitely give him a shot. The people that did the original work on my Corvette when I first brought it to Lubbock, they said they were willing to come out and help me with it, but they are going to be significantly more expensive than your guy is. And we're down to the pennies now. We're down to where if I can save $20, that's what I need to do. So if you would text me his phone number, or I think you've got my number. If you'll give him my number and ask him to call me, I'd be glad to give him a shot just as soon as we get this Kenworth figured out. Says, thank you, Todd. Prayers for you and the family. Thank you, Fly Rabbit. Also, Fly Rabbit said in the coming weeks, he just did kind of a quick 2 or 3 minute video. Actually, I think the one that he did the walk around this time was just a short, but he's going to do a more extended video in the coming weeks. So if you're subscribed to him, you'll see those videos when they come out. Or if you just want to go over there and check him out in a couple of weeks, I'm sure those videos will be out. But I've always thought the blue Swift trucks were really pretty. Abandon says, we don't know each other personally, but I do my best to catch all the lives. Yeah, you've turned out to be a pretty good guy, Abandon. Yes, and my comment wasn't serious, LOL. I knew, but some people were worried. And, I've shared the story on here. In the South, we'll say a phrase called you guys or y'all, and it's not gender specific. You guys could be a group of females. It could be anybody. And I had a female that emailed me and was really, really offended. She said, you need to acknowledge your female viewers. And I was like, when I say you guys, I'm acknowledging everybody. And so I've tried to switch it to folks or everyone or something like that. But occasionally I'll slip and say you guys. And I don't mean that as disrespectful to women, but we all have our triggers. And there's things you could say that would probably upset me really easy. And there's things I could say or not say that might upset you really easy. And it's hard to know what will and won't upset people. I've tried to make this channel as inclusive as we can so that it's a place where everybody feels comfortable coming in and saying what they say and disagreeing with me from time to time. But you just don't know what people's been through in their lives and what could trigger somebody or upset somebody. And I would hope if I say or do something that offends one of you, that you'd let me know, because I'll bet you it's a misunderstanding. And if it is, I'll apologize to you and we'll go on. We may still not agree. I may say, this is how I feel, but I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings or something like that. But I would hate for any of you to go away mad. The old Motley Crue song, don't go away mad, just go away. So, yeah, I don't want anybody mad. I don't want anybody leaving here with hurt feelings. Most of this stuff we can work out if you just tell me there's a problem. I don't know there's a problem unless you tell me. And so that's one thing, and I'm going to use his name here. I didn't get his permission. That's one thing Tim Back is really good about. If I say something and it wasn't cool, he'll tell me, hey, Todd, you said this, and I think we need to talk about it. I said something 2 or 3 videos ago that he felt like I was taking a dig at him. And I laughed. I said, yeah, I figured you were saying that. Here's what I meant by it. And within 30 seconds, we had it cleared up. He wasn't mad. I wasn't mad. But if he wouldn't have said nothing to me and he would have let it fester for a week, for 2 weeks, then 3 weeks later, he might be cussing me out. And we can avoid all that. Or he may be wanting to see it take a swing at me if he sees me at a truck stop. But we can avoid all that if we can take a few seconds. I can re-explain what I was saying. He can re-explain what he was thinking, and we can come to some kind of middle ground. And that's one thing that Tim Back does very well is he doesn't get his feelings hurt real easy. And if I say something that he feels like's out of line, he'll call me and we'll talk about it and get it worked out. If you do get back to Tracy, there's usually parking at Joe's Travel Plaza off I-5 in Wesley. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Right now, I don't think Scott has any interest in California or Oregon. Now, as the company grows, he might change his mind. But he just said he's not interested in going there now. And I haven't pushed the issue or twisted his arm. Like it's, one thing I hate is when somebody will start a company and they know what the deal is going in, and then they crop about it the whole time they're there. So, for example, a guy that goes to a dry van company and he goes, I really want to pull flatbed. Well, you knew when you went to that company, it was a dry van company. There's no flatbed there. By the way, Scott does have one flatbed driver, so I'm not talking about him. It's just an example. Or you go to an all reefer company. You go to Prime and you're like, I hate reefer loads. I hate grocery warehouses. I want to pull a dry box. Well, what'd you go there for in the first place? And so that's, I knew what the deal was. I knew there wouldn't be California or Oregon going into it, so I'm fine with it. I agreed to that. And if some point down the line that changes, then yay. And if it never changes, then I'm fine. This is by far, and I want to reiterate that, by far the best company I've ever worked for. Inside, outside of trucking, I can't think of a better work experience I've had. Is it perfect? No. No job's perfect. But if I lose this job because of mechanical breakdowns or something like that, it's 100% on me. I won't be able to say one negative thing about the company. And that puts a lot of pressure on me. He has not made any mistakes that I could come on here and tell you, man, he really screwed up here. He really stuck it to me. He's been fair. He's been reasonable. I don't know that he's always liked everything I said or every opinion I've ever had, but he's listened and said, I'll give it some thought. I shot him an idea, probably about a month ago. Well, no, it's probably been 2 months ago now. And I could tell when I was shooting it to him, he didn't like the idea. But he said, that's interesting. I'll talk to my wife and we'll get back to you. And 3 or 4 days later, he called me. And I didn't get the decision I wanted, but I was grateful that he at least considered my idea, listened to what I had to say. And how many companies do we work for over the course of our lives where they're like, yeah, we'll think about it. And they never give it any thought. He took 3 or 4 days to think about an idea that he didn't like from the get-go. And so to me, that's the ultimate respect of me as a person, of me as a business owner, just that he would hear me out, even if he didn't like what I was saying, or even if he disagreed with me. And so it's going to be tough if the Peterbilt dealer hits me with a number I can't get to, or if, the truck stays in the body shop longer than I'm anticipating, and I can't survive that. But I'm not going to be able to come on here and go, SRO really stuck it to me. I don't have that in my arsenal. I'm not going to be able to say, Scott's a dishonest guy and he really screwed me over. I can't give you one example. He's treated me respectfully. He's been friendly. He's helped me in every way imaginable. And so I don't have any dirt to sling on him. I was talking NCG. All right, I got to scroll up. I'm too far behind. I got on a ramble. NCG. Okay. We thought you were talking to Abandon. Not sure who NCG is. Anyway, I'm getting behind. I need to get down here and jump in. In general, not toward abandon. Oh, in general. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree with you, Tim. Oh, my bad. I would offer, but my hands are worthless for doing too much at the moment. My hands are thick, and they may not look thick on camera, but the little wires that go where you plug the instrument cluster lights behind the speedometer, my hands don't fit back there to plug them in the precise spots they go. Now, when I was taking it out, it was easy. I could just pop them out, take some needle nose if I needed to. But going in, you got to be super careful. And that cluster is big and it's very, very fragile. It's 50 years old. And so I don't want to break it, tear it up. I need somebody with a really soft touch that can put it in gently. Well, that didn't sound right. That could install the cluster gently and go from there. But yeah, once it gets back together, I'm not taking it apart again. Now, originally I wanted to go to Dakota Digital and get digital gauges for it, but I never got that done. And it'll happen before I sell that car for a third of its value. I'll find another way. I know you would, Red Raider. He says, man, I'd help you if I could. I know you would. Red Raider just had surgery on his arm, and he's not able to, but he lives here in Lubbock, and he's as good a guy as you'll meet. And when he says he'd help me if he could, he really would. Red Raider's only guilty of one thing that I know of. He had a giveaway on his YouTube channel, and I didn't win. I would expect Red Raider to rig his contest to where I win, but no, I'm just joking. He's a good dude, and he's gone through a lot lately as well, and he's due for some goodness to happen to him as well. I appreciate him. I have a suggestion: start using Monopoly money. Yeah, or too bad these places don't take IOUs. Wouldn't that be awesome? I just write IOU on a piece of paper and sign it. That's what I need. Or I need them to bill me. That would be another awesome idea. No, I never heard of that one. I need to check that out. Cars and bids. If I can find a pen, give me just a second. I'll write that down and check it out after the show. I can't find nothing in this house. When I get here and all my stuff's here, it just makes everything so cluttered till we get it organized. And we can't organize it because we don't know when we're going back out. Cars and bids. My son has the older son has a pretty good presence on Facebook Marketplace and places like that. And he said if I'd get a bunch of pictures and shoot it to him, he'd post it for me. They buy and sell cars too on top of running their shop. And he said he'd promote it as well. And so may do a few days of that because I could do that now while the dash is apart. I've got good, accurate pictures of the car. And so I may shoot him over some pictures tomorrow and let him try to do it as well. You know, the tough thing about classic cars, I guess we can talk about this for a second. You say, well, what's it worth? And the truth is it's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay. And on the day that other one sold, it was worth about a third of what I think it's worth. And, you know, somebody may pull up and go, hey, the price you're offering it for is a bargain. I'll take it. And they may show up and offer me half what I'm asking. And so I've got to mentally establish what's the lowest number I'd take. And at some point, I've got to decide, do I just take that number and lose that equity, or do I say, no, I think I'm going to keep it? And I have not made that decision yet. I love the car. but I could live without it. So either way. And I know me, I'll have to get another toy at some point. Probably won't be that fancy of a Corvette, though. But it's been sitting for over a year, and I could walk out right there right now, pump the gas 5 or 6 times, and it'd start right up, even apart as it is right now. I don't like starting it while it's apart right now, but it'll crank right up. Hey Scott, give Todd a PO and do a settlement deduction plan. Yeah, he's a great guy, but I don't think he's in the market to do things like that. And I don't blame him. I mean, he knows me from a working standpoint, but what guarantee does he have that he doesn't give me that, the truck gets out of the shop and I run off to another carrier? I wouldn't do it, but he doesn't know that. And, it's risky for him. What happens if he does that and 2 weeks from now it breaks down again and I'm going, hey, Todd, I need help again. And then Tim's truck breaks down and Tim goes, hey, I need help too. It's an opportunity for him to rack up a lot of debt and maybe get his money back and maybe not. I think if he did something like that, he should charge interest, and I wouldn't blame him if he did, or mark it up a little. He's a business. He's there to make money. He's not a bank. And so it's one of those, that's what I was saying. I don't have nothing to throw on Scott if he decides to step in at some point and help, then it's great. It'll be appreciated, but it's not his responsibility or his obligation. And there's not going to be any hard feelings if he just chooses not to participate. Gary wants to know, was I able to get my wife's car fixed? So my wife's car, I forgot to talk about it. I took the battery off, charged it up, got the battery tested. Battery's fine. Went and plugged the battery up, and it shot smoke out the alternator, which usually means the resistor inside the alternator has failed. And long story short, no, I have not replaced the alternator yet. I'm hanging on to every penny I can until the Kenworth is done. My wife, and she's in full agreement with me, we collectively agree that the Kenworth is the most important thing right now. We've still got the cop car if she needs something to drive. We've still got my pickup, which she's currently driving right now. She went to see her friend. They're going to go feed some horses, do some things like that. But her car has been backburnered until we figure out what's going on with the Kenworth and what the final bill will be. Snowman says, hey, everyone. Yeah, Tim, I knew it was a joke, but the reason I went ahead and went into a long explanation is because I've had guys say similar things in email. Well, why don't you just get your boss to pay it? Or don't you have a maintenance account with the company? No, it's not a lease purchase. I'm supposed to have my own maintenance account. Had a guy that come after me pretty hard that says, I don't see how you guys run your companies with such small maintenance accounts. And it's like, well, it didn't start off small. It got nickeled and dimed down with stuff like this. And now it's down below $3,000. Whichever one of us agrees isn't enough. But it is where it's at. And, we can sit here all day and criticize me and second guess me and say, well, you should have had this, you should have done that. But it is what it is at this point. Now we just got to look for solutions and move on. Bobby Martin says, that's what I like about Landstar. They help out. And I'm sure in certain situations God helps out, but we're comparing apples and oranges here. How many trucks does Landstar have under their authority as opposed to his 6? I mean, he's still a working truck driver, and it's not right for me to expect him to put his business or his family in jeopardy and help me out. Now, I don't know his finances. He may call me tomorrow morning and say, Todd, it's no big deal. It's a drop in the hat. I'm going to take care of it fully. You and I will work it out in the coming weeks. Or he may never call. He may say, nope, Todd's an independent contractor. He needs to figure it out. And I'm going to respect him either way. And like I say, there's not going to be any hard feelings either way. Yeah, that's I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm apprehensive that it came up tonight because I don't want to put any pressure on him, but I have been getting that question a lot. Well, why don't you just get Scott to help you? He's making a lot of money off of you. Well, he's supposed to make money off of me. Whatever your company you're leased to, they're supposed to make money off of you, whether you're a company driver or lease purchase or whatever. So I'm not going to fault him for being a profitable business. How he spends his profits is up to him. What he's reinvesting in or what he's doing behind closed doors, that's between him and his family. Like I said, I'm not going to get on here and pressure him to help me or badmouth him if he chooses not to or nothing like that. I'm just going to tell you how good he's been to me so far, and that, shoot, I hope we can work together for years to come. I really do. I could go on and on about, I wish I could talk about what a good guy he is and all the stuff he's done. I don't think it's right to do in this venue, but trust me, whenever I tell you somebody's bad on here, like a company that we're not going to mention, it's 10 times worse than what I say on here. And whenever I tell you somebody's good on here, trust me, it's 10 times better than what I'm telling you. So if I'm willing to publicly admit that Scott's a good guy and I can't find fault in anything he's said or done, then it's 10 times better than that. Landstar is a big company. That's why. Yeah. Well, Landstar's got a lot more money to throw around. They're doing a 65-35 split. They're taking 35% of your revenue on every load. And they got agents that they're taking a cut. So when it's all said and done, Landstar's getting about 50% of the rates. So they got a little more profit to throw around. Scott's doing either a 75-25 or an 80-20 split. So he's making money, but not near on the scale that Landstar is. True, 13,000 at Landstar. So he's what? Let me see, 6. He's 2,000 times smaller than Landstar, but we're expecting him to do the same thing as a company that's 2,000 times bigger than him. It's just not realistic, and I wouldn't put that kind of stress or expectations on him. And I know a lot of you with good intentions suggested that, hey, pull Scott to the side, give him a phone call, tell him how bad it is, and say, hey, Scott, can you save me? And maybe that's the nuclear option. Maybe I do that. But, hey, if they call me tomorrow and the bill is $500 cheaper than what I think it's going to be, maybe we don't have to cross that bridge. But if they call me and go, hey, the bill is $1,500 more than what I thought it was going to be, yeah, maybe I've got to call him. And then he's got to say, maybe he says again, hey, I got to talk to my family. I'll get back to you. And like I said, no matter what words come out of his mouth at that point, I got nothing but respect for him and appreciation for what he's done. And if he tells me, hey, Todd, this ain't working, I think I need to come pick my trailer up and we're done. Or he says, hey, I think you need to bring my trailer back to me and we're done. Then we're going to shake hands and part on good terms. I'm not going to burn this guy. I can promise you that. If I can avoid it in any way. If the truck gets repoed while it's in the shop and I can't physically take his trailer back to him, then yeah, there might be an opportunity for burning him because I don't have no way to get him the trailer. But you can bet that I'm going to exhaust every opportunity I can to treat this guy the same way he treated me. My boss is cool, and I'm glad I made my move. Well, good deal, man. I'm glad that you're at a good place too. That's the deal. You get on YouTube, you get on the internet and look up company reviews, and people just trash every company. They're all bad. Their bosses are all stealing from them. Their company, their equipment's all junk. Everything's bad, bad, bad. And it can't always be the company's fault. And it can't always be the equipment's fault. Sometimes you got to put the blame on yourself. And I knew going into this that the way this deal was structured, as long as he pays me, which he has, there's never been a payroll problem. And as long as he doesn't micromanage through safety, which he never has, he's wanted me to be safe. He's wanted me to follow the law, but he's never been overbearing or impossible to deal with. Then I can't come on here and trash the guy. If he doesn't agree to do something that he never agreed to do, then I can't say, well, if he doesn't do this, I'm going to say bad about him. No, he never agreed to do this. Everything line items that he said he'd do, that he said this is the way it's going to be, that's the way it's been. So I'm saying all that, not because I want y'all to come over here. If y'all don't want to come over here, don't come over here. I'm saying all that to say, when you find a good company, just like I did with Midlife Trucker at the start of this video, if somebody's good to you, you need to acknowledge the goodness in them and not just look for something negative to say about them. I think that's what's wrong with trucking. We're so busy tearing each other down instead of helping each other. That's why I've tried so hard to help each other. It's why I released that video of me prying that door open on that boxcar and getting those people out. Not because I wanted you to say, oh, look what a great guy Trucker Todd is, but I wanted you to see I'm practicing what I preach out here. I'm out here helping people. I hope you're out here helping people. That's the only way we're going to make it better out here. I had the same situation, had over 15 grand. Things happen, and now I'm working from behind. It happens. Yeah, what you're going to find out is the people that'll criticize you are usually guys that don't even have what they say you should have, or they're company drivers that have never done it to begin with. And I would say this to every independent contractor in the country. Every single one of you should have more money than you have right now. You can never have too much money saved. You just can't. So if you got 40,000, get 50,000. If you got 50, get 100. If you get up to 200,000, save it, pay cash for your next truck. You always need more money. And still you need to have more money if you do that, because your brand new one, straight out of the factory, might have problems right out of the gate. You might have downtime. However much money you got in the bank, you need more to play this game. And so you can make fun of me, you can criticize me, you can tell me how I did it all wrong, but at some point in time, every one of you is going to find yourself in the position I'm in. I was financially strong at one time, but things have changed, and pray things turn around. I appreciate that, Gary. I think that's true for a lot of us. Inflation and this economy and the rates dropping hit us all, and some of us more than others. I survived it fairly well, actually. The last 10 weeks were some of the best weeks I'd had since back when the rates were up. I did really, really good. But, downtime hurts us all, but not knowing what you're going to spend. That's what I was telling the finance company today. I can deal with the downtime. I'm set up for that. I got other sources of income. I'm set up for the downtime. But I can't write a blank check to the shop. I can't put the truck in there and it sit for a week or two. And we're coming up on a week now, and not know what the final bill was going to be. If they would call me right now and say, hey, Todd, it's going to be 2 more days, the bill's going to be $3,000. Then I'd have 2 days to come up with $3,000, and I could poodle together what I've got with whatever I could round up from other sources, and I could pay the $3,000. But if they call me on Thursday and go, all right, truck's done, you owe us $5,000, and I got to pull it out of thin air, that's going to be tough to do. And so I'm in a position where I've got to authorize the diag, and they're in a position when they got it apart, they've got to fix it while they're in there. And so I basically handed them a blank check, and I've just got to hope that when the dust settles that I'm still standing. No Fear says, that's why I'm still here at where I'm at? No, because he is honest and all. Yeah, if you find an honest guy, stick with them. I had a company right here in Lubbock. That company I used to work for, where I was home every other day. I went back to selling cars because the car market shot up. This was several years ago, and he cheated me out of $75 on my last check. And I called him. I said, "Hey, where's my $75?" He said, "Well, I'll give it back to you if you come to work for me." And I said, "No, I'm selling cars. I'm making about twice the money. I can't leave this right now." I said, "I gave you a 2-week notice. I did everything you wanted." And he said, "Well, that's the deal. If you want your $75, you got to come back to work for me." And I said, "I'll never go back to work for you." I said, if I can't trust you to do the right thing unless I do what you want, then I can't trust you. And he waited about 3 or 4 days to see if I'd hold my line. And then he called me and he said, "You know what, Todd, you're right. If you'll come back, uh, I'll I'll put it on your first check." Well, by that time, the car market had started slowing off, and so I gave a notice at the car lot, and I went back to work for him, and he still screwed me. So that's why I stick to this point. He gave me the money, but it was about a month later. He's like, "Well, I'll put it on your third check instead of your first one." I said, "That's not what we agreed to." He's like, "All right, I'll put it on your second check," because the first check had already came. But he was just sneaky like that. And I'm not trying to throw him under the bus now, but Scott has never done anything like that. He's never told me, "Well, Todd, I know I told you 80-20 split, and I'll give you that 80-20 split after you're here 6 months." Or, "I know I told you your trailer payment is going to be this amount, and I'll honor that after 6 months," or something like that. Or, everything he's told me has been spot on. Um, he said he didn't say, "Well, I'll give you 100% of the accessorials after a year." No, he gave it to me from day one. So everything he said's been spot on, and that's so rare in trucking that I don't care if he hires any of you. I'm going to tell the truth about him. I think you should all go to work there because of the way he's treated me. It doesn't mean he's going to treat you that way, but I bet he would. And you go, "Oh, well, you're a YouTuber. He don't give a crap about my YouTube." He watches it, and I'm sure he finds it entertaining, but who knows? He may go to sleep to it like some of you guys do, but he does the right thing because it's the right thing. He's a Christian. They go to church on Sunday, and I'm not saying that makes him a Christian, but I'm saying he's got a good family, and he's just a good guy. And that's so rare in trucking that that you have to mention that. He calls and asks about my grandkids and about my aunt. How many of the companies that you work for did the owner call you and do that? No Fear says, "True that, Todd." Acceleration, who's another good guy. He's been leaving really good comments here lately. He said 80% of America lives paycheck to paycheck. I don't doubt that at all. I wouldn't say I'm quite paycheck to paycheck, but I'd say I need to get one pretty soon. I need to go back to work. And that's what I told the body shop today. I said, my truck's probably going to be out of Kenworth sometime this week if I can pay the bill. And I said, then I need to go to work for a few weeks before we put it in here. And he said, "That's fine, Todd. I know you." He said, "I know you're a man of your word." He said, "We'll work around your schedule, whatever you need." And that's why I do business with him. He didn't say, "Well, sign this and do that." My word's good to him. We parted on a handshake, and he's going to expect me to do what I said I was going to do when I said I'd do it. And if something happens out of my control, if the truck breaks down on the road and I can't get back, or a snowstorm makes it impossible, I call him and it's all good. And that's, incidentally, that's what brokers like to see too. A man that keeps his word, a man that communicates. And if you make a mistake, call him, say, "Hey, I screwed up." I've had to call Scott a couple of times, say, "Hey, Scott, I messed up. How do I fix it?" And I'm expecting to get my head bit off. And he's like, "No big deal. Here, do this." And I do that, and we're back to good again. He doesn't say, "I'm going to write you up," or, "Well, park the truck. You're suspended for a week," or, I'm going to put you on safety hold until further notice. He always says the same thing. No problem. Try this. And so that's what I say. I know what this sounds like. Sounds like a recruiting video. And some of you are going to think that even if I come on here and talk bad about him. But what do you want me to say if he's been good to me? What do you want me to say if I see a good movie and I say, hey, this movie's great? You want me to tell you it was terrible even though it was great? Or if Dak Prescott has a horrible game, even though I love Dak Prescott, what do you want me to say? They played terrible, defense, offense. Everybody was bad. I'm going to tell you the truth. A truck can go down at any time, says No Fear. You never know when it's going to. Yeah, that's true. And they usually break down like at the worst possible time. When you're on your way home, I had a guy that called me the other day. He was on his way home, like 200 miles from home, and his truck broke down. And he's like, I've been waiting a month for home time, and now it's going to get delayed a few days. These rates do not make it easy to save anything. Yeah, that's true. And I think they're coming up, but, I was off this week in large part, and several people I saw online said they kind of came back down again. So, it's tough times. And then, of course, like Gary Cook's saying, you got to figure fuel in there. Fuel is ridiculous. I've been fortunate to pull some really light loads lately, so fuel has not been as big of an issue, but it's always a concern. You handle ever, I bet it was you hardly ever see an owner operator of a company that drives a truck himself. Yeah, that is a rarity. He really does, though. And he does most of his own repairs right in his own driveway. Tries not to use outside shops unless he has to. But I would say 85% of the time he calls me, he's driving or in the truck out on the road. And rarely, unless it's like on a Friday evening or something, is he at home. And so he's working. A lot of times he's taking his wife with him, just like we do. Now, I hadn't been able to take my wife on this truck, but he's out here doing what we do. And that gives him a better understanding of what we're going through. And so I think that's a good deal. A lot of guys, they start off driving a truck, they start their big company, they go in the office, and they lose touch. And I don't feel that's him at all. I think he gets it. And I think he understands the stresses I'm going through right now. He called me the other day, and he's like, and I don't usually like to use people's words in phone calls, but this fits this story really well. He's like, how you doing out there? I said, I'm a little stressed, but I'm hanging in there. And he's like trying to give me a pep talk. Oh, you're going to be all right. It's going to be okay. I said, yeah, I'm just going to have a lot more gray hair and a lot less of it. And he's like, hey, don't talk about gray hair. So, in other words, he's saying that he's had stressful moments in trucking too. And I think if we're being honest, anybody that's ever owned a truck or even lease purchased a truck has been in that stressful moment at some point in their career. And if you hadn't been doing it very long. I had a guy that's in here right now that was telling me the other day his truck broke down. He had it less than a month in a lease purchase, and they gave him a loaner truck for free. And he was talking because he was in his first 30 days. And he was talking about what a big difference that made, that if he had to rent a truck or if he'd had to be down while his truck was being fixed, what it would have cost him and how bad a shape he was going to be in. His truck had broke down, and I don't remember what it was. And then the tow truck messed up his front bumper and his radiator and that little brick on the front bumper, which I wish a tow truck company had messed the brick up on my bumper. I hate that dang thing. But anyway, sometimes that's where a lease purchase can be handy if you're broke down and they can put you in a loaner truck. Working for a smaller company has a lot of benefits, but if there is a con, it's that oftentimes there's no loaner truck or nothing like that. And can you think about the complexities if there was a loaner truck? Because I'm insured without outside insurance. I would have to try to insure his truck or he would have to try to carry me on his policies. Both could get very expensive. When you jump from one truck to two trucks, it can go up quite a bit because they don't assume one's in a shop and one's being used. They assume you're running both of those trucks, and they charge you accordingly. But yeah, back to No Fear's comment. It is great that he's still a driver. There's people who's living in their car. Yeah, I just saw a news story about that. In California, there's a lot of people still living in their car because rent out there's got so high they just can't afford it. And they showed like this parking lot, and there was just cars filled with people sleeping in their cars. And it was just like a little community out there. No Fear says, true, Gary. No Fear says, they messed my check up once and he tried to meet me and pay me. And I'm just like, put it on my next check. Yeah, Scott's messed my check up, or SRO Logistics has messed my check up probably 5 or 6 times. But instantly when I called, they fixed it. And usually it went on the next check. A couple of times he was able to just cancel the direct deposit and resubmit it and fix it right then. But he's never tried to weasel out of paying me. And I've worked for companies where you'd call them and say, hey, my pay's not right. And they try to find excuses not to give it to you. He's never done that. And so I appreciate that. He's always been on the up and up. Like I said, and his wife usually handles payroll. She's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. I can't imagine having an argument with her. If we ever did get in an argument, I would assume I was wrong initially because she's not a aggressive, in-your-face type person. She's kind of, I wouldn't say shy, but I would say maybe passive is the word I'm looking for. And so the few times I've talked to her on the phone, it's always been pleasant. It's always been cordial. And I can't ever see a situation where we had a big argument or we just couldn't deal with each other anymore. I guess if we ever hit an impasse like that and I felt like I was in the right and she was in the wrong, then we'd probably get Scott involved and let him see if one of us had it wrong. And she knows her stuff, so I would assume that I was wrong if we got to that point. And it'd probably be a teaching moment where I needed to be corrected and know that I misunderstood something or something like that. But that's never happened, never come close to happen. I've never hung up the phone angry with her. And so it works real well. And like I said, the few times we have made payroll issue problems, one of them was just an honest mistake where they hit like the 1 button instead of the 5 button because it was beside each other on the keyboard. And they fixed it quickly. Just little stuff like that. And so it's nice when you work for a company like No Fear's talking about where you don't have to worry if they're intentionally trying to screw you. Now, mistakes do happen, and every one of you should be looking at your settlements. And if there's a mistake, bring it to your company's attention as soon as you can. And I would say do it both ways. If they overpaid me, I'd call him and say, hey, Scott, you overpaid me. If it's $10 or $15, he'll probably say, oh, I'll keep it. Or he may say, all right, I'll get it back next check. Whatever he wants to do, but I'm not going to knowingly cheat him out of money. Just because he's been so honest with me, I feel like I owe him the same courtesy. Truck can have problems, even the new ones. I'm having a Todd day. My smaller fuel tank had a leak today. Hey, Midlife, I'm glad you're here. We've been talking about you all show. I showed everybody at the start of the show what you sent me, and we've been talking about what a great guy you are and how appreciative I was. And I told everybody about your YouTube channel, asked everybody to go check it out. And I told them how happy you were at Cheeseman and that you were a company driver over there, and told them to reach out to you if they had questions about Cheeseman. And I just want to publicly say thank you to you one more time. After I educate myself on how to use all that technology, it'll be implemented in future videos. It sucks when your truck breaks down over the weekend. Yeah, it really does because I mean, like, just take the APU for example. It's Monday through Friday bankers hours at almost all of the locations. There's like 5 in the country that are open on the weekends or 24 hours or late at night or something like that. Now they will do a call out, but it's so expensive you can't afford it. And a lot of times it's hard to get parts and stuff like that. And if you can get parts, you have to pay a call out fee, and it's a nightmare. Cheeseman's owner Ed drives at least 1 week of the month, 300 plus trucks plus leased out trucks, 4 shops, and he's still driving. See, that's good. That's real good. That's a big company, so I'm sure that's I mean, 300's not as big. Some of you are going to eat me alive for that. I realize there's bigger than 300 companies. What I mean is it's a large enough company that it's probably a big commitment for him to leave for a week and go do that, but he wants to stay connected to his drivers. That gives him a lot of credibility with you guys. And yeah, I don't hear anything bad about Cheeseman. So if you live in their area and you're looking for a company job, hit up Midlife and let him tell you all about it. I need bank here. It never stopped. There you go. It's snowing already in Wyoming. Ridiculous. Yeah, I think we're going to have a long winter this year. I just get a feeling. And only a company driver. So Fly Rabbit says I can tell it was him. So Fly Rabbit contacted me, and he was the one that broke down with issues with his truck. Like having it, I think he only did a couple of trips with it, and they put him in a loaner truck. And I don't think they charged him for the loaner truck. And he was really grateful to Swift, saying, because it did like $8,500 worth of damage to his truck. I may have the numbers wrong, but he was just grateful that they gave him a loaner, because starting a new company, that could have been tough to recover from if he had to absorb that. I feel blessed at my company. They have been very helpful to me. So Gary Cook said another good company. That's great. That's what we need more of on the internet and on YouTube. People that are at a good company, and I mean really good company. They're not just trying to get a referral bonus or get a pat on the shoulder from their boss. If you're a good company at a good company, you need to tell everybody, not so that they come there or you get a referral bonus, but so that it offsets the negative people out there that they hate every company. We all know people like that. They hate every company they go to. Everybody's out to get them. And so that offsets that when you go, well, everybody's not out to get you. I work for ABC Trucking, and ABC Trucking has been great to me. And that's what we're trying to get more out here. We got to be careful, Tim. We're going to get in trouble talking about Scott's wife. But Tim says she is the good part of Scott. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I like her. She's really easy to deal with, and even in the 4 months I've been there, she's starting to overtake more and more of the company responsibilities, and she's a good person to deal with. She always treats you with respect, never talks down to you, and she knows her stuff. So yeah, it's nice. It's tough when you work for a company and the wife is great and the husband's a jerk, or the husband's great and the wife don't know what she's doing. It's great when you work for a company that they've got a team in place, that they work well together, and that they're both honest people. I mean, if they make a mistake like that day, she actually accidentally hit a 1 instead of a 5, they apologize. Hey, we just hit the wrong button. We're sorry. We'll fix it. Can't be mad at people for like that, because we all make mistakes. They owned their mistake and they fixed it as quick as they humanly could. And so Of course, I'm going to go in here and say good about them. What else can I say? Some of you want me to go, well, they're great, but they still suck. And I don't have that. I'm sorry. No more phone pics on your head. Yeah. Yeah. I'm retiring the hard hat apparatus and the uh, alien tape, but I may get me a new hat, a hard hat too. I've seen some really cool ones lately, and if I could get one made that said Trucker Todd on it, or and had the YouTube stuff on it and Instagram stuff, I might get something like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to using it. Just like my camera, my dash cam does like 1 minute increment videos, but with that GoPro, from my understanding, I could mount it to one of my grab handles, like on the passenger side, and do a long video of me driving down the road from like Dallas to Houston or something, and then upload it. There's people in the country that's never been to Texas that would be interested in footage like that. And then I could hopefully put some YouTube music to it that didn't get me demonetized or something like that. Boy, YouTube's become tough to deal with on that. TikTok don't care. You can plagiarize everybody. In my opinion, don't sue me, TikTok. Hey, Dark Horse Mafia's here. Hi, Todd. How's it going? I'm doing great, man. How are you? Midlife trucker Tom Bell. Do you know the Muffin Man? That was funny, Abandon. The problem with Cheeseman is very few open trucks. Yeah, but I wouldn't call that a problem. What that means is they don't have a lot of turnover. That's where you want to go, is companies that, if you show up at orientation and they go, we got 75 trucks outside, we got 300 in the fleet, 75 of them are empty, go pick which one you want, then there's a problem there. But if you go there and they go, oh man, we only got 2 trucks and we're not even sure if they're available, then drivers aren't quitting. And so to me, that tells me even better that Cheeseman's a good company for company drivers. And then we got a guy on you like you on here saying, you're a credible guy. You're a believable guy. And you're saying, hey, I have a good experience here, been here for several years. Then I have no reason to doubt it. And I realize that, they probably won't hire everybody in the country. But for those that are in Cheeseman's area, definitely check them out if you're looking for a company driver job. And if you're not sure, if you got questions, I don't know. I've never been to a Cheeseman terminal. I've never been to an orientation, never sat in one of their trucks. But Tom Bell, Midlife Trucker, knows all of that. Get in contact with him and let him go over it with you. Same thing with John Toohey over at GP Transco. I have sat in a GP Transco truck. I had a friend that worked there, and I hopped in there and looked around. But I've never worked for the company, never been to their orientation. Contact John Toohey about GP Transco. Let him tell you, and then you can decide if that's where you want to go. Both of those seem to be great company jobs. Maybe you're out of the hiring area for one of those companies, and maybe you're in the hiring area for another company. So, company driving jobs, check out Cheeseman and GP Transco with John Toohey and Midlife Trucker Tom Bell. Oh, wait, I skipped somebody. Tim says Scott's a great guy, but we give each other crap. He knows I was teasing him in case he was watching. Yeah, he, that's something about that you get to know after you work with somebody a while, after you've talked to somebody on the phone a few times. You get to know how you can joke with them, their personality, what you can say, what you can't say. And I think we both kind of know how to joke with Scott, how not to joke with Scott. I think he knows when it's a good time to give us a hard time and when it's not a good time to give us a hard time. I think he's kind of taking it easy on me this week because he knows I'm under the gun. He knows I got a lot of stress. And I mentioned that he's owned a few companies prior to this trucking company. And so he's got people skills and he knows how to deal with people. And I think that comes in handy, especially when dealing with moody truck drivers and stuff like that. The Muffin Man, says Dark Horse Mafia. Hey, Pueblo's here. Hey, Mr. Todd. Hey, Pueblo, thanks for being here. Todd, how many Swift drivers have completed their lease purchase? That is a super difficult question to answer, and I'll tell you why. One of the reasons is, what do you consider completing your lease? And let me give you an example. If Fly Rabbit gets to the end of his lease and instead of paying his balloon payment and keeping his truck, he goes, hey, I really like the 2028s. I want to get a 2028. Did he complete his lease? Yes. Does he have a title? No, because he re-upped and got a new truck. Also, the second part of that I'd say is, how many people complete a lease at any company? Forget Swift, scratch Swift's name out for a second. Think about it. How many people stay at any trucking company for 3 to 4 years at a time? Now, Swift did have an option, I don't know about now, where after a year you could pay some money and take the truck to another company. There was a bunch of catches to it, and I don't know percentage-wise how many people do it. I wouldn't think a lot of people do it. They also had an option called trip leasing, where you could cover up their letters and numbers and drive for another carrier, either for one trip or up to 30 days in some cases. But, it's the same could be said about homeownership. How many people complete their mortgages? Very few. Most people live in a house a few years, sell it, get another house. They paid off their mortgage, so I guess technically they completed it, but they jumped right back into another one. And, I would say in this market, the odds of completing anything is less than it was before. It doesn't mean that lease purchasing's bad necessarily. I wouldn't do one right now just because these leasing companies are jacking up the truck prices. I'd find a way to buy your own truck. But I don't fault Swift or say anything bad about Swift for the way they do their lease purchases. I made really, really good money there. And I had somebody as recently as yesterday try very hard to talk me into going back. And I can't leave the deal I got now. I don't care if they offered me a custom truck. They said, Todd, pick it out the way you want it and we'll get it for you. Well, to do that, I'd have to abandon the one I've got, which would tear up my business credit and my personal credit. I don't care if they offered me more money. More money wouldn't be worth screwing over the guy I'm working for right now. So it's not about money. It's not about equipment. Right now, it's purely about, can I hang on financially? And it's not because he's screwing me on pay, because I'm negotiating my own rates. It's about, is Peterbilt going to screw me? And as soon as I know, you guys will know. I may even make a special video and tell you what I find out. May go live tomorrow and tell you. Just depends what happens. But yeah, Swift was great. I made a lot of money there. I don't know if it's the same now. I've heard there's some changes. But the load board they were working on, I heard they fired a bunch of people in that department, and that it's basically back to square one. It makes me question the load board and if they really want to have one. But again, that's my opinion. I don't have insider knowledge. I don't pretend to know what Swift is knowing, thinking, or feeling. It just makes me question how hard they're trying to get a load board. But that's also a deciding factor. I don't like being dispatched. I think I do a better job dispatching myself. But any lease purchase, forget the terms of the lease. Just think of how many drivers stay anywhere 3 or 4 years anymore. And some of it's drivers being fickle, seeing grass greener on the other side of the fence. Some of it is companies. And I can think of a trucking company right now that they've had like 6 CEOs in the past 3 years. And so every time you get a new CEO, the company changes. The policies change, the procedures change. And so you sign a lease saying, I'm going to pay this truck off. And then company changes on you at least 6 times during the course of your lease. It makes it tough. And then you throw in market conditions. And just because somebody fails at a lease purchase doesn't necessarily mean they're not a good business person or their company ripped them off. Let's face it, sometimes you get a lemon truck. And I had somebody ask me the other day if they thought I got a lemon truck. And I said, absolutely not. That's probably helped me more than anything is having a reliable truck. And the stuff that has gone wrong with it, the air tank, the starter, even the electrical issue with the turn signals, the bunk heater, those type of things, that's just normal things that go out on trucks. It's things that's why we save money for maintenance. So when these things happen, we're ready. But over time, when things happen, it just keeps chipping away. And you wake up one morning and you don't have the money you had before. I mean, I wish I could show you guys my P&Ls on here. First 3 months of the year, I had more money than I knew what to do with. But then the accident happened and I spent a crap ton of money. And then, all this stuff started happening. And so you can second guess me all you want to, but until you've been through it, you just don't understand. Heinz is a good flatbed company out of Nebraska. Contact Rod. Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know if Dark Horse told me or somebody else. I know almost nothing about flatbed, but Dark Horse, I wouldn't even know what questions to ask Dark Horse about flatbed. But if Dark Horse has been coming in here for a while, and if he says Heinz is good, and you're into flatbed stuff, then contact Rod. Or if you've got your own truck and you're into flatbed, contact Scott. Like I said, I know he took one guy on for flatbed, and I'm sure he'd be willing to hear you out. How many Swift drivers got the title for their truck? Well, see, that's what I was talking about, Gary. Some, obviously, because I met some of them. Some of them had bought 2 or 3 trucks from Swift. But if they up at the end of their lease to get a new truck, let's take Fly Rabbit, for example. Let's say 4 years from now, his truck's paid off, and he goes, hey, I'd like to get the new 2028s that are coming out, which they'll order what he wants at that point. Option the way he wants, the color he wants, because he's completed a lease. If he says, this truck's been kind of a lemon, and I really like the 2028s that are coming out, I'm going to turn this truck in as a part of the lease. He can do that. And I'm going to get one of the new ones custom ordered the way I want it. He may never actually have the title in his hand, but he completed the lease. And to me, that's just as good. And I don't know that anybody releases the statistics about how many people get the title of their trucks. I would guess on a company of 22,000 trucks, I would guess probably 2 or 3 people a week. And I realize that's not a lot, but like I said, you've got to factor in all the people that are cycling up to new trucks, people that have deaths in the family and they have to quit driving. It doesn't necessarily mean if somebody doesn't get a title that the company screwed them over. There's a million reasons why it happened. Oh, no, Adam. He says the main truck he's been driving is going to the shop. The throwout bearing went out. Have they told you how long it's going to be down for? Hey, Ted's here. He says he's parked now. Well, I'm glad you're here, sir. Yeah, I appreciate that, Gary. Yeah, Tim Back's in the same boat I am. He got a good truck. He's had some issues, and his big issue, and I think he's okay with me telling this, the title transfer process from where he bought the truck to his state took longer than anyone could have ever anticipated. And it kind of got him behind the 8 ball a little bit. And he's been digging his way out, but he's been making money. Scott's been good to him. His truck's been good. The rates have not helped him any, but he's still making a decent living out here. Pablo says, I work for E.W. Wiley, flatbed only, based in North Dakota. Great company to work for. All right, for the flatbed crew, there's another good one, E.W. Wiley. So if maybe you're a North Dakota resident, that might be the company for you. If you're watching this video and you hear somebody talking about a company you want to check out, just write them down, and then after the show, Google it or get a hold of Pablo, let him help you navigate it. Or the other guys that as they talk about it, either Midlife or John Toohey, and they can certainly get you in touch with a good recruiter that'll make you have a good experience. It will be after Harvest Project going to replace the clutch while there too. Yeah, if you're going to do the throwout bearing, you might as well do the clutch. So what are you going to use in the meantime? Are you just going to keep driving it like that? All right, we're kind of slowing down at the hour and 47 mark. If y'all got it, throw it up and we'll talk about it. If not, we'll probably wrap this video up pretty quick. I appreciate everybody being here. I always hate to wrap it up because as soon as I put the end stream button, a bunch of comments come on and I don't get to reply to them because I'm already out of it. But it's been a good day. My voice made it through the video, and I do appreciate everybody being here. Adam says, no, we have 2 trucks, so I'm in a 389 Pete day cab. I don't know what it is about Peterbilt day cabs, but every time I get in one, I rake my knees across the dash. If it's a sleeper truck, I don't, but I about cripple myself every time I get in a Peterbilt day cab. Okay, that was a weird comment for me to leave on about raking my knees on day cabs, but I think I'm going to go ahead and step out of here. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. And Gary Cook's asking who plays Thursday night football. I honestly don't know. I believe the Cowboys are on Monday night. I don't know who's coming on tonight, but I should be able to get out of here in time to catch the game, hopefully. I usually have 600 calls to make after these shows, but I appreciate everybody being here. Y'all have a good one. We'll catch you on Tuesday. I may do a video tomorrow if I get an update on the truck. So y'all make sure you're subscribed and all of that so you get a notification of when it's coming out. Y'all take care. We're close enough to the 2-hour mark. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.